Hello, everyone, and welcome to Code with the Italians. Today we had a struggling start, but we're here. We managed to make it.
Can you hear us?
They can hear you for sure. Mark, do you want to try saying something?
Hello, everyone.
Yes, and they can hear me. Yes, yes. I mean, I managed to fix the rest of the shit that I normally miss.
Is it because all of my problems gave you extra time to sort out?
Yes, exactly that. Because your camera just did a thing. Okay, it's fine. It's okay. It just sometimes it gets very high quality and that confuses OBS. Sometimes it gets potato quality and that also confuses OBS. But I'm optimizing for potato quality because I'm counting on Skype to default to that most of the time. That is a sensible thing to do.
Fair enough.
Okay, so we're here. We're only like 10 minutes late. It's fine. Today we have...
Fix it on YouTube. We're gonna fix it on YouTube, like you just chattered.
Sure we are. So we have today someone we haven't had in a while. Oh, thank you for the sub, mysterious person whose face is just next to mine. Hi, Mark. Welcome back. I guess you're bored of doing Android and now you're doing what? Video games?
Well, here lies the story. Kind of in my day job, was kind of given some forewarning that I might need to look at some game stuff, not to actually develop games, but just get an understanding of it. And if I'm totally honest, it scared the shit out of me. I've never done game development. I'm not a game developer. And it's completely outside my comfort zone. It was sort of quite terrifying at first, and one of the things I had to look at was some game development engines, and I had no clue whatsoever about them, which is what scared the shit out of me. So that's kind of where I got kicked off on this, and I went in with a lot of preconceptions, and I was completely wrong. And
In a good way?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that, as I say, I'm not a game dev. I maybe tried to do some when I was a teenager learning to code. And
on the micro?
Yeah, probably on a ZX81. So, yeah, that dates me.
The good old days. Let's just say the good old days.
Oh, yeah. You had the 16K RAM pack. It came with 1K of RAM on board. And you had this RAM pack that was this chunky thing that plugged in the back of it. And you'd spend hours typing in a listing from a magazine, get to the last line, hit return, and the RAM pack would wobble and the whole thing would restart and you'd lose everything.
Oh.
That was the good old days.
I can imagine there was a lot of shouting.
Yeah. There was a lot of swearing as well. If you think waiting for Gradle builds is bad enough, then you go through all that, and
Man.
yeah, that wasn't fun. But yeah, so I went in with some preconceptions that probably I'd have to do a lot of graphics stuff, write C++, and learn how to write shaders and all of this kind of stuff. And I was wrong. So that's kind of what we'll sort of cover a little bit today. And I will be completely honest that as well as having my problems connecting today, which is what caused the delay in the stream. So everyone in the chat can troll me about that.
Today you broke shit, not me, for now.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even use the said broke it sound effect, can I?
We need another one for you, just for you.
But also, as well as that breaking, I tried to get a project working, and something's completely broken in my Unreal Engine 5, and I can't get Ocean to work. So it's working in a project that I did a while back. So what I'm going to be forced to do is, rather than create that from scratch, which is what was hoping to do, go through and just recreate it, I'm just going to have to take you through what's there and explain some of the relevant bits. So apologies for that, but it is what it is.
It's all right.
So I'm still very much a noob.
So before we actually start, before we answer the big question, are we going to do C++ today? Don't say anything. We'll figure it out later. Ivan, do the Ivan thing.
Yes.
Copyright.
Let's do the Ivan thing. the TM, the trademark thing. So thank you everybody. Today was my day to renew my subscription. I didn't get a notification by Twitch because, damn it, I don't know why. So
I never get notifications. This reminds me, I need to check.
Yeah, I opened the chat on my Twitch app and it said, "Oh, subscribe," and I was like, "Damn it, it expired." It expired because you can have, if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can connect your Twitch account to your Amazon Gaming / Prime account, and you can have a free subscription every month to a Twitch channel of your liking. So this month, as you can also do, I subscribe to Code with Italians. So, and I'm giving myself a buck, basically, to be able to freely ship you stickers that we are gonna say give away today. There is a giveaway running. There are a lot of automatic messages that you are seeing in the chat because I was able to build a periodic scheduler. Hurrah, I can code. Also in TypeScript, apparently.
Wow.
Well, that was actually, so we're building a SaaS, and we're releasing it probably this year, fingers crossed. And one of the features is,
I think at some point is a realistic estimate.
Well, I mean, I have people in the chat that are waiting to enter the alpha testing, so this is exciting. And of course, we are selling things like, if you want to support us buying our swag, we have the stickers, we have the keychain, we also have the pin. Look at the pin. We also have the t-shirts, the hoodies. We have a lot of stuff that you can check on our website, and you will see the links going through the chat. And if you're watching this on YouTube, also check the description. If you are on YouTube, also subscribe, please. It helps the channel. And yeah, let's go.
Okay, so Mark, do you want to explain what is a game engine?
Okay, a game engine is basically like a runtime for game systems. It will do a lot of the physics for you. It provides you with a framework for doing lots of complex stuff. We're not going to be doing much complex today, I promise you, because I'm very much a noob. I don't know much complex stuff. What I have seen has blown my mind with how powerful it is and how it's not always the most intuitive stuff. I think it's because you kind of need to adjust mindsets and things like that. But there are some little cheats along the way. And so Unreal Engine is kind of like the runtime. You can build a game that runs inside Unreal Engine on cross-platform. And the equivalent of Android Studio is Unreal Engine Editor. And so you need to actually install Unreal Engine on your PC or Mac. And I've got it pre-installed because if I tried to install it during a live stream, we'd run out of time before it was installed. It's a very big download.
If it finishes.
And then when you fire it up for the first time, it's going to compile thousands of shaders. And so if you fancy just a quiet day playing with Unreal Engine, try setting it off the night before. And then
or just go for lunch. Like do it before lunch and then come back, and maybe by the time you're done. But
remind me every time I want to play some PlayStation 4. Every time I turn the shit on, it's just updating for like 15 hours, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just code, and that's who I am, Sebastiano. Coding in my free time.
Just like the comic I just put in the chat, right?
Yeah, the cartoon that you just said. Yes, I'm exactly that. That's definitely me. I can't enjoy shit because I need to turn it into passive income. Yes.
Oh man, you need to buy a PS5. That shit updates itself while you're not using it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Mark, one thing I wanted to ask is like, besides the fact that it takes forever to install, but is it like, do you need to pay something to install Unreal or?
No, it's quite an interesting payment model, particularly if you're an indie or you're starting out or you just want to learn, is that it's completely free to use. There is paid content you can buy to go with it, which we'll see in a little bit. But also there is the kind of payment model is, if you publish a game, you can use it for free until you've earned more than $1 million from the game, in which case you start having to pay Unreal 5%. Now, okay. I'm not a lawyer and I don't know the real ins and outs. I'm not sure if it's as a developer across all your games once you go over the $1 million. And I'm not sure if as soon as you hit the $1 million, you suddenly owe them back payment for the first $1 million, which would be about $50,000. But if you've earned $1 million out of it, I'm sure you might have a little bit of small change in the bank.
Yeah.
Either that, or you're invested in crypto.
I mean, you have to let it go, for fuck's sake.
No. I was gonna say Tesla stock, but come on.
Yeah, I mean, you can beat on the dead horse, right? So that's fascinating because, I mean, that's a huge piece of software and that's a huge community, and it's basically so if you keep failing, it stays free. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, you don't get penalized for being bad.
Okay, so there is that, but you know, it probably fosters. I don't know if it fosters is the right, but it supports the idea of keep throwing things at the wall until something sticks, right? So you can build a lot of stuff that is basically throwaway, and you know, eventually maybe it's like the Angry Birds thing. Do you remember Angry Birds? I mean, that was like game number 22 or 72, and then they actually just blew up. So you know, you can. I like the idea that you don't have to pay until you make money, and at that point you're like, oh, that's fair. I mean, 5% is still okay. I mean, Play Store, how much is it? Like 30%, 20%?
Yeah. So yeah, and you're not tied. You don't have to distribute through Epic Games or anything. You can distribute your games through other pathways. But if you're selling it on through Google Play Store, then you're going to pay Google as well as the license fee for Unreal. So,
do your math.
Yeah. So, don't take my word on any of this. I've not really searched it in depth, but just be aware of it and make sure if that's your ultimate goal, you do proper due diligence and work out how your business model is going to work. That would be my only suggestion.
I mean, there are game engines that are either free or open source. But if you're going for AAA, probably you want to look at something like Unreal or Unity, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Would that be double A?
You say Unity, and Aurelio just popped up in the chat. You basically summoned him because he's because ciao Aurelio. So thank you for the sub, by the way, because I think his final project for the master degree was about Unity, was with Unity something. So he's still full PTSD kind of thing. So, but I love the timing. Anyway.
Well, I don't know. I mentioned Unity because I'm thinking of the Game Maker Toolkit videos where the guy's learning how to make a game by using Unity.
Actually, I think that there are some open source ones. I think Godot is one of them.
And libgdx as well, I think.
Yeah.
But they're not 3D as far as I know. No. Probably. Today is Godot Engine Day, is it? I had no idea. Is there such a thing? Well, if it is, congrats! Or
congrats, but
I don't know.
Happy Godot Engine Day, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Go make a game. Daniele, I'm looking at you. They released Godot 4. That's cool.
All right. Let's get a link for the chat, Sebastian.
Yeah, doing that.
So, Mark, let's say I want to start with this stuff, and what do I start? Where do I start? I download the editor.
Well,
are we sharing Mark's screen?
Yeah, if you share my screen.
Yep, done.
Then where you start is in the Epic Games launcher, which I happen to have on the screen as we speak.
The one that I have for games?
Yeah, it's the same one. And there should be an Unreal Engine tab, which this will allow you to install Unreal Engine. And so, as we discussed, I've already done that.
Otherwise, it's going to be
otherwise it would be a stream like if we were just watching Gradle for an hour and a half.
We should do that stream at some point, like April 1st. Do we have a stream on April 1st?
So you get the engine, and then you have a launch button.
Yeah. But the other really interesting thing is you have this marketplace. Now, I did mention there was kind of paid content that you can buy. And that's all in the marketplace. And you can see you can buy so an Evil Undead 7 assets kit, which has got sort of zombies or something, or various visual effects, ambient music packs. And they vary in price. Some of them, you've got a fixed camera system that's free. The other nice thing is every month you get about 5 free products that you can see. This is a bank building interior that's reduced from about £40 to free.
Okay.
So it's like the Epic Games Store where you get free games every week, but instead you get game assets.
Yeah. So.
But this is great. I mean, this I'm just asking because I don't know how it works. I mean, the first one that you say the bank building, is it like the whole bank that you can navigate? How does it work? I mean, okay, probably I'm going ahead of.
It's basically all the assets that you can all the textures and stuff like that you can build your own bank interior, and you can customize it. So that's an exterior, but I'm pretty sure there'll be interiors.
Wow.
And you can.
Wow.
So there's all kinds of assets in there. And that's completely free. You can customizable, full bank interior. It includes the whole building and exterior. There's meshes, collision detectors.
Wow. Okay.
Materials and material instances, textures of 1 and 2K. So there's.
I think we're going to have to cover what some of those things are.
Well, there are various things that we'll sort of see them in a bit more detail when we go into Unreal. And so you can just grab this for free. And these are still February's for the month. So I was hoping that Marches were going to drop so we could actually see them sat there.
Let's refresh at the end of the stream.
Just click refresh. But I love it because I mean this is valuable content. It's not just some €2 cheap shit. It's I mean the character, the body effects, whatever is like $50. So it's like some serious thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, look at this shit. Okay, nice.
So there's some. Not all of it you can use in every game, but
sure.
Once you've picked it up for free, it's yours for good.
It stays in your library, right?
Yeah. I love that the top center thumbnail in the showcase. It looks like a YouTube thumbnail. I feel like we have to use that as a basic for the thumbnail for this episode.
Well, the internal spaceman.
It's like it has to have an arrow with bigger inside or something.
And as well as the free for the month stuff, there is a load of free content anyway. There's stuff that individuals have done that they're just making free. Some of it is epic that they've just released for free. So you've got control rig samples pack. So
nice.
We go. So don't know the details of that one, but
well, there's a rig for a box just in case.
Yeah. So you've got interaction systems. You've got Rico live streaming client. So I don't know what half of these are, but they're free.
But we'll figure it out.
As long as we don't pay for them, everything is fine. Okay, so let's say we get an idea. The marketplace is cool and it can be very, very cheap. But now what?
Okay, well, if we now go into where's Unreal gone?
Oh, by the way, you are using a MacBook, right?
I'm using a Mac Studio.
Okay.
So for some reason, Unreal has decided to hide itself, and I can't get it back. So let me just quit it and launch it again.
Everything is working today.
Yeah, just to understand, can I use it on Windows as well? Right. Yeah, sure, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's cross-platform. So the IDE itself is cross-platform, as is the games that you can generate. And you can create Android games on there. And just while this is loading, which even this will take a little bit of time. But yeah, so even on my M1 Ultra Mac Studio, it takes a long time to build all these all the shaders and stuff. So it's so this is just one of the things I was tinkering with. Let's go to a different level where. So this is the one I was hoping to show from scratch, but because every time I tried to add the ocean, it just did nothing, and so it's working in here. But the basics of the system is you kind of have this this view. So this is your level. If you can, whether you can see it, but there's some really thin lines on the horizon showing your game area. So this is an island sat within there. So it's probably going to be difficult to see because it's a very thin line, but there is a line there which is showing kind of like one of the vertices of the cube in the game area. And so you can see we've got this island. You can see we've got this quite natural sea effect, and this just comes for free. You have various plugins you can use that are bundled in, and one of them is this water plugin, which is an experimental one, but you allow oceans, river, lakes, custom water bodies, and so on and so forth. And you can see it's pretty natural looking. And so this is kind of your main visual area. And then these are basically all of the elements that are on there. So you can see we've got this water body ocean. And just like in, a graphics package, you can toggle the visibility of things. So if I toggle the water off, it's gone. And I toggle it back on again, and we get our water. And you can see we've got the same with the landscape. So we can actually remove the island just by hiding it. And there's also some really quite complex lighting. So if I just pan up a little bit, we can see that we've got directional lighting. And if we turn that off, we plunge the whole lot into darkness. But this is directional, so it will cast shadows. And this is what is reflecting off the surface of the sea to give them, the nice light and shade of the waves as they catch the light and stuff. You've also got exponential height fog, which is probably easy to understand if I just toggle it off. It's just kind of adding a little bit of atmospheric fog, atmospheric mist, so you don't get such a harsh horizon. It's kind of just softening the horizon a bit. So kind of a fog effect. You've got sky atmosphere, which is kind of like the background color of the sky and the blue of the sky. And you see we take that off, and it actually takes off the reflections in the water as well.
So the clouds aren't reflected, really?
No. So it's it's not perfect. It's not giving you the...
Where's the ray tracing, Mark? Where's the ray tracing?
There probably is stuff, but you're going to get that at the cost of performance and stuff like that. You also have the skylight, which is the stuff that's getting reflected. So and all of these, you've got individual parameters that you can control and tweak, and there's so much here. We could just waste the entire stream just talking about one of them. But then you've got the sky sphere, which I'm not sure what that is. And
There's a sphere in the sky.
You've got these volumetric clouds. So you can see it does actually affect the water when the clouds are there. So they're being diffused. So there kind of is a bit of reflection. The interesting thing, this is quite a plain landscape, but what you can do is if we go, here's an interesting one. If I actually, I'm really bad at navigating in here, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm really slow. But if we go down to the sand, you can actually see
There's
that
a
it's
normal
actually
map.
textured, with footprints in there and that kind of stuff.
Is it just a flat texture, or does it also have like a normal or something?
This texture won't actually respond when you walk through it, so you won't see dynamic footprints. So this is kind of just a static texture. But this is assigned that if we look at the landscape, there we go. We've got this. This is a tide trampled sand beach that we got from Megascans, which is a load of free content. This is permanently free Megascans, so there's a load of Megascans content that you can get for free. And if you double click on this, then this is kind of like a sphere that's got the material instance. So this is what's called a material instance. It's a static shader, but you've got various parameters that you can tweak on here. So you've got the surface material here, and this is used for the material instance. So you could have different copies of the same material, but tweaked in different ways to use in different places. So you it's almost like subclassing materials, and you can tweak the parameters on them and have separate instances of them, so that you're actually able to use the commonality, but tweak them in individual areas. So there's an awful lot of complexity you can get into with this, and I've really not even scratched the surface with materials and surfaces and textures and all of this lot, but they are incredibly complex, but you can get a lot of them as free content, or you can buy it if you need something specific. You don't need to be an art whiz to go and grab some assets that someone else has created. If they fit what you need and you can buy them, then go for it. So not being good at this stuff isn't a barrier. That's certainly what I found.
So you can suck at other things.
Yeah, exactly. You can get all the less important things completely wrong as well,
like the game itself.
So here you can see how,
Oh,
nice.
looks
nice to
nice.
see is
It's actually not even bad.
With the caustics and everything, nice.
yeah,
Yes.
it really is. Considering you get this pretty much out of the box, it's really nice. So the way that the materials interact together with transparency and the ripples and all of that, it just blew my mind when I first tried it, and I just followed a YouTube tutorial and thought, wow, that was easy. And we could have done it in a few minutes had I been able to get the water to work. So we'll look at something else instead. So if I and it's easy to mess yourself up with the
Oh, it's like playing with no clip on or something.
yeah. So you've got this landscape editor. So here we've got a layer which is kind of the sand, and what we can do here is got various modes here, but what we want to do is add a brush.
In the meantime, a big shout out to Skype that has decided that the screen share can be in potato quality too, just in case.
Right. Yeah, just when we're dealing with high-res graphics.
Right now, it's just like,
So sorry, folks, we're not really coding Minecraft here. So what we can do is create a new brush. So just a custom brush for a landmass. And Why did that not create it? Oh yeah, what we need to do is click on it, and then if we scroll up, we can see we've got this sudden pyramid appeared. Now this doesn't look very natural, so if we go into this, what we can do is if we look at the fall off, if we cap the shape, you can see now we've got kind of like a plateau. It's quite subtle, and I'm hoping that it's showing up in Minecraft mode. I'm not sure if I can view it from a different angle and we might see better shadows. Kind of over there.
I saw it for a moment.
Yeah, I know. I told you I was. Yeah, so there we can see a bit of relief there. And again, this looks quite boring because it's just a simple triangle and it really doesn't look very natural at all. But what we can do is if we select these control points, you'll see you get this kind of 3-axis control point. If you hold Option on a Mac, and I think it's Alt on PC, and drag, it will create a new spline point. And so you can quite easily build a more natural rounded shape, and you have to keep doing what I'm forgetting to do, and you have to select the point before you you drag off it, and I made the right pig zero of that. Grab that point and move it that way slightly. Now the other thing that's worth noting is these control points. When you select one, you can see you get the 3 arrows and they're color coded. Now also right at the bottom corner down here, again, if it's in Minecraft mode, it'll be difficult to see.
It is still very much in potato mode, yes. It comes and goes, but it's either like 1 frame a second high quality or 10 frames a second potato quality.
So yeah, you've got this. It's probably because there's quite a complex image with all the texture on there. So Skype compression is
it might also be that the computer is struggling to encode higher quality video while the editor is running.
Possibly so. Let's see what my my CPU
high quality warning.
So yeah, but these colors will become important later on because they're kind of one of these little hacks that suddenly click and you think, now I know why they color coded this. So if they're not visible,
we can
Z-axis,
kind of see them.
The Z-axis is colored red, the Y-axis is colored green, and the Z-axis is colored blue. So you got that one is red, that one is green, and that one is blue. And if you just grab one of these
isn't that
arrows,
Z?
Sorry, Z.
Yeah, because you said Z is green.
No, Y is green, Z is blue.
Yeah, okay.
So you can actually do a constrained move just by grabbing one of the arrows to move it. But if you want a free form, you just grab the control point and move it. And of course, these are Beziers, so you can grab the Bezier control points.
Are we running a thing where every episode has to contain Beziers in some way, shape, or form? I mean, I'm okay with that. I like it, but
crucial part of computer science.
Yeah, well, graphics for sure.
Now, another thing we can do is, because Beziers are sort of quite smooth, we can just add some randomness to it. So if we add some displacement height, let's try 50. Is that going to be too much? Yeah, it's done nothing whatsoever.
More, add more. Man.
Whoa.
More.
that is doing something, but it's really quite subtle. Let's go completely mad. Oh yeah, there we go. That's better. So it's just kind of adding some randomness to this.
It's like add zeros when in doubt.
So you've got this tiling as well, which I think we can probably
add the
that's
zero.
not very smooth. So
bam.
So you can, and you've got some, various tweaks you can do here. Let's maybe try bringing that down now. And yeah, so you can slowly just play with the settings to get something that's more natural looking, and you can just keep playing until you find something you're happy with. And you can do smooth blending and stuff like that. So that's going to smooth it a bit. That's quite subtle, so let's up that. So you can just play with this stuff until you're happy, and you can spend hours just tinkering with these things and trying to work out what they do. But it's pretty easy to get something that's a lot less bland than we started with. And likewise with this, you can, if we come out of landscape mode and back into selection mode.
I was just looking on the marketplace, and if you look for banana, the first result is banana monster, and it's fucking horrifying.
Is it free? Is it free?
No, it's like 23.04 euros.
Look for a pizza. Let's get a pizza.
But there is free tropical vegetation banana plants, Mark. If you ever needed to put bananas on your beach.
So
I think I may have that somewhere.
How do we add an asset from the marketplace? So how do you do that?
What you can do is, if we were to go to the Epic Games launcher, so if we were to get, there we go, Megascans trees, which is a freebie.
Oh, nice.
Why it keeps jumping out of... That's one glitchy thing that sometimes it does is add to project, and then so add it to this one. Sometimes the Unreal Engine editor gets a bit glitchy, and so here you can see it's installing
7 gigabytes.
Yeah. So
wow.
And then once it's there, we're going to have to compile shaders. So
because it's a mega scan.
Maybe this was a bad idea. So I'll fix this for now, because we've only got 35 minutes left.
No, but the idea is, so this is the thing. You find something, you click on it, and it suggests you to add it to a project, and eventually I guess you are gonna find it on the left, right? Bottom left, something.
Yeah, what you've got is you've got this content browser at the bottom. This is basically all your assets down here. And we're going to look at this stuff quite soon, actually, because this stuff is where it really gets interesting. So, as you can see, I do have some vegetation over here.
So there is, Mark, a food pack 01 that is free and contains both pizzas and bananas, just in case.
So is it 200 gigabytes.
No,
Sebastiano,
I think the problem is that it's only compatible with Unreal Engine 4. Damn it.
that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the vegetation is moving. How?
So the vegetation is really clever. It's known as foliage, and you can see down here I have some foliage stuff. In mega scans, there's 3D plants, and so this is the sea wheatgrass, and there's loads of interactive stuff, materials and surfaces, and kind of all these get combined. The materials, the surfaces, the shaders which cover the leaves. If I can get this just right, you can actually see that if you look at the plant from underneath, you get a different lighting than if you look at the same thing from above. Oh, I need to adjust my camera speed, I think. So you can adjust the speed that the camera moves.
High quality.
Yeah, suddenly.
For a moment.
So yeah, from above it's quite dark, as foliage would be, but if you go from below where the sun's shining through it, you get completely different texture.
That's cool. So it does subsurface scattering on the foliage.
Yeah, it's really nice. And also notice the shadows. So the shadows aren't highest definition here, but this is kind of in a preview mode. It's going to behave better once you actually compile it to a standalone game.
So that's there is a there is a sort of export / rendering final step, right? I mean, there is like a thing that's gonna take you 3 days, and eventually you end up with a APK that you can play.
Yeah, and you don't need to pull anything into Android Studio to create an Android APK. You enter your package name, and there's even you can request permissions and stuff, all from Unreal scripts. So that you've got everything you need in here to not have to both have to deal with the slowness of this and Gradle as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you can do it completely outside of Android Studio. You can use both if you need to, but yeah, you don't have to. But you'll notice how the grass isn't just static. It's actually affected by wind on the island, and there are settings to control all the wind and stuff like that, which I won't go into because I think there's something more interesting that we can cover that kind of goes into a little bit more depth. If I actually play the game, that wasn't a great start. So it took me underground. So why did it drop me right over there? So the game template that I used here sets up a default actor. So if I play here, you can see that it drops our
a humanoid.
Actor. Yeah, a humanoid in there. And
okay, wow. Oh, wow. So you're moving the keyboard or something? Or
I'm just using the arrow keys here.
Wow.
And if I am able to, you may see that the shadows are a little bit sharper here. At least close to. But if I start running through the grass, are you seeing the kind of the Zelda Call of the Wild effect where the grass is moving as we run through it?
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Now that we didn't get for free, that was something that I've added to it, and we'll cover a little bit about that because it kind of shows what sort of stuff you can play with. So it's quite subtle, but it just gives a bit more atmosphere to the game. So if we come out of that mode, it's all down to these materials. So as I said before, these are a kind of like a hierarchical thing. So if I go into this wheatgrass, so these are the material instances for the wheatgrass, or the sea wheatgrass. If I double click on them, we get this editor, and we can see this hierarchy, that this actually extends this material surface called foliage material. And in there, we have this kind of flowchart kind of graphical editor. Okay. This is called Blueprint. And I will full screen this just so that it's maybe a bit
Sorry, people keep calling me. I'm going to try to answer.
So this is called Blueprint.
We hear you. We hear you. We hear you. We hear you.
So
let's hope he noticed.
So this is called Blueprint, and this is kind of the graphical scripting language.
Okay.
So you can do all of this in C++, and that means you have to do it in Xcode, which no one wants to do that.
Can you use it? Can you use IntelliJ for something? I mean,
I don't think so. It only gives you the option to open it in Xcode. And every time I've tried that, it just doesn't work. So I've clearly got something up with my Xcode installation.
Okay.
But this is surprisingly powerful. So we saw the wind, and so you can see here, this is built into it. You've got various parameters. So
this is built in the foliage asset.
Yeah. So the foliage asset has this scripting, which allows it to respond to the wind. So you've got intensity, height, speed, and I'm not sure what WPO is, but it's something.
It probably does something, maybe.
So wind power. Output.
Okay.
Wind power. Power. Okay.
So, and these drive other scripts. So if we go into there, this is another script. So you can kind of call, it's like calling methods from each other and stuff like that. But this is the stuff that I added to actually do the grass bending away from you as you run through it. And I just got this through kind of, we don't need that. I just followed a few online tutorials for this. And so try and run through this, and it's quite simple. Hopefully we can cover it in about 25 minutes, but I'll just try and go through it step by step. So we have these two inputs. So the first one is the absolute world position. So the particular piece of grass has its own position. So that's what's fed in here. The other thing we have is the current player position. So this we can get from the engine. The engine will feed us this as the player moves. It will update this. So it will cause this to run an update. And what we want to do, what we do is we pass this through an RGB mask, which sounds a bit weird. And the data types that you have in Unreal are quite simple. They're based on the C++ data types. And so you just have vectors that handle this stuff. So this comes in as a vector 4, for example, but we only are interested in 3 values. We want the X, Y, and Z. And it sounds weird that we're then doing an RGB mask, but this is where we come back to that color coding, because you can use the same vector type for a color value or a vector value, a directional movement vector. And so what this does is gets the player's position and then just masks this down to the XYZ components. So then what we do is we subtract the 2 to get the position of the grass relative to the player. So every time the player position moves, this is kind of like working out how close they are together. So when the player position is identical to the world position, there's not going to be much subtracted. So it's going to have the most applied. It's going to have the most effect the closer the player is to the position of the grass. So this is kind of how we get the effect is minimal when the player's far away. So that comes into here, and we have an interaction radius here. Now this is a parameter. This is what is called let me see if I can I think this is a scalar parameter. Yeah. And scalar parameters are quite interesting because they get exposed to the material itself. So these you can tweak, which we'll look at in a minute. So just remember that that's called interaction radius. And we divide the vector length that we got from the subtract by this interaction radius to get kind of how much they're going to move. And then we do a saturate. And what a saturate is going to do, there is help for all of these. It's just going to clamp the value between 0 and 1, which that's all we want is a relative, 1 is going to have the most effect and 0 is none. And we need to invert that. So the closer we are, the more effect we have. The further away we are, the less effect.
So you can essentially write a lot of logic by just doing that?
Yeah, so effectively what this whole box does, the title is sphere mask. And so it's just creating a sphere mask that's around the player position. It's going to have the most effect at the center of the sphere, the least effect at the edge. And this interaction radius is kind of defining the size of the sphere. So that's kind of what all this is doing. As is, that kind of sounds quite sensible. But what it would do is it's going to cause the grass to move. And if you just move the grass, the whole grass is going to move. And grass kind of doesn't work like that. It's kind of anchored at the bottom.
Oh, right. So you mean the whole bunch of grass, not just the single blade of grass?
Yeah, it's not interacting on the actual blades. So you kind of need to correct for that. So if I was to disconnect, not that one, let me just disconnect that for a second. Why won't you? Come on.
It's easier in C++.
I'm sure it is.
All of a sudden, it's easier in C++.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to try and disconnect that and jump back into the game, and we could see it, but I can't remember how to disconnect that.
Oh, something happened. No.
I managed to.
Oh, maybe alt click or shift alt or something.
Delete. There we
Boom.
go.
Bam.
It was
So-
easy. First try.
So I told you I'm not very clever at this. So if
Well,
I can do it, anyone can. So
Yeah, sure, Mark. As we don't know you, right? Yeah, that's easy. And then, I mean, I'm too used to guests on this show to believe you. I mean, I know you all, right? Somebody's copy pasting, another one is showing something that, oh no, I was wrong. It's easier. Yeah, sure.
So as you probably saw there, when I saved it, it compiled up the shaders again. So if I now try playing the game, I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but
Wow, that's fast.
no, it's not actually doing anything without that. So I think maybe there's more subtlety in there than I was expecting. So okay, let's jump back and go in there. And so if we go back to, so this is the asset that's derived from what we were just editing. And do you notice this global scalar parameters values? We've got the interaction radius there. So it kind of exposes that to the derived materials, and you can then tweak individual instances of those to behave slightly differently. So again, it's like this. You create instances to customize them, but you can write your custom parameters and they get exposed through. And here you can see the wind as well. So you can see that the grass wind can be enabled for this or disabled, and you can override the intensity and so on and so forth. But if we go back to the material and wire this back up, what this other section is doing is it's doing this anchor the root to the ground and allow the tops to move more as they get further away from the ground. And so what we do is we start here with 1 by 1 and multiply that by this same value we got from the relative positions of the absolute world and the player position. We then normalize this. So what normalize is going to do is, if we have a vector, the actual length of the vector movement is going to be a unit of 1. But if we're moving both with an X component, a Y component, and a Z component, if we put 1 into all 3 of them, that's going to get the actual vector is going to be greater than 1, because the combination of those, the actual straight line that reaches that endpoint, is going to be greater. So what you can do, what normalize does for you, is if you apply 1, 1, and 1, and then normalize it, it will adjust those values so that the actual length of the final vector is 1. So it's kind of just keeping it within the bounds. So I think it's kind of going to be about 0.707 for each of the other values to get a value of a vector length of 1. So if that makes sense. Then we have another scalar parameter for a bend. So this is how much the grass is going to bend as you interact with it. We give it a default value here. these then get multiplied up so that it controls how much. Then this top row, we create a coordinate, and then we're going to create a green mask. And what this is going to do is this is going to be effectively a gradient that's going to affect how much is applied. So the green is the Y direction, so it's going to deflect in the Y direction. But it's going to deflect the most at the top of at the bottom of the gradient, and the least at the top. So we need to invert that. So at the bottom of the gradient, it's not going to deflect at all, and at the top of the gradient, it's going to deflect the most amount, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So this then gets multiplied again. So this is effectively applying that gradient on the height of the grass. So at the bottom, there's no effect. At the top, it has the most effect as you run through. So it kind of anchors the grass to the floor. And then this gets added to the sphere mask. And when you come up here, it's also added to the wind effect, which we looked at earlier. And then these get applied to the world position offset. So the wind mask will in these scripts, this will have something similar to this gradient mask to control the effect so that the wind doesn't blow the bottom of the plant, but the top is affected more. And so by adding these cumulative even. That's easy for me to say.
Or is it?
You get this cumulative effect on the grass. So both the wind and the player running through will have that interaction. So apologies, I've had to rush through that fairly quick because we could have probably spoken at quite a bit more length on that.
I think besides the actual implementation of the effect, which is interesting, but I think the main takeaway here is the entirely different mindset that you need to be able to implement these effects. Because if I were to think about how to do this, I don't have the game developer mentality, so I'm not thinking in terms of shaders, for examples, where I'm like, oh, this is a geometry shader, so I need to affect how the geometry works, how the vertices are located or something. So I'm gonna create stuff, and I'm gonna create or look up a value, put it in coordinates. They're not really coordinates, but they are like it holds the kind of values that I want. And then I'll create a coordinate system. I'll create a texture in there that then I can use the values from that texture to affect how much the effect is applied to a specific thing. And then I need to multiply this and add that and subtract that bit. And then at the end, what comes out is, blade that is actually a blade of grass that is actually bending when you're walking over it.
Yeah, and one of the the whole mindset thing. One of the things that that was a real WTF thing for me initially was this whole concept of why are you applying an RGB mask to an XYZ vector. And it was only when you kind of get in the mindset of, well, it's just a data type. It's an array of 4 floats. Effectively, it's a vector 4. That's the same primitive type is used for both an ARGB value and an XYZ value. One's a vector 3, one's a vector 4, but just an RGB value is still a vector 3, so that can be represented in exactly the same way as an RGB value. It's just a way of representing that data, but you kind of have to get into the mindset. And then when you spot that those arrows are color coded with RGB, so that if you need a reminder, you can just look at the editor. Yeah, let's just save that before we go back. Compiling shader. Get used to that. That's
At
the
least it's-
equivalent of Gradle.
At least it's just one this time.
So, yeah. So when we I've lost my train of thought now.
You said you wanted to show something in the editor.
Yeah.
We can contemplate the serene ambience of grass.
Well, what we can do is, first of all, we can see that when we hook that the bend back to back in, that's now appearing as this global scalar parameter. And so this is in one of the instances of that that material we were just tinkering with. And yeah, I'm not thinking what I was going to show in here, but basically the thing to understand about that whole procedure that we just went through is it's creating an interaction sphere around the player position. As the player gets close to the grass, it will affect the X position of the grass, but then it's got this gradient applied, so the bottom of the grass stays fixed and it moves the grass more as it rises to the top. So it kind of gives this impression that the grass is bending out of the way. So that's kind of what we've done, and it wasn't really Maya in the chat. Yeah, so it really, this is still pretty crude, and this isn't much of a game just running around through grass. You get bored of it fairly quickly. But when I was able to get this working within a few hours of firing up Unreal for the first time, you kind of realize how much you get for free, even though there is a bit of a learning curve, and you will end up watching lots and lots of YouTube videos on how to do this stuff. But there is quite a bit of content out there. And I think it's like any kind of development. There's always more than one way to do anything. And so you can watch two separate YouTube videos, and each one's going to show you how to do the same thing in a totally different way. But you could say that about Android development as well.
Oh yeah, I mean,
there are always multiple ways of doing anything.
Well, I mean, it's a creative work, right? So eventually you will have one problem with multiple solutions, and then you pick your poison. But I like the fact that this thing is a handful of blocks and things and arrows and copy paste from somebody YouTube video, and now you have a beach full of waving and bending bushes, and it's it seems easier than how I imagine it. Especially the fact that you can drop the actor inside and the thing moves through the landscape. It's like, okay, well, this is it. I mean, it works, right?
Yeah. So this run mode is. And you always have to remember to click on the window after you've started it, because otherwise it does nothing. This isn't running at full res because there's still a load of other stuff going on. So when you actually fully, export the game, it's going to optimize it further. But this is more than enough to just sanity check your levels before you do that.
Can you go to the water, please? Oh, look at that.
You can drown yourself.
No, I didn't mean to drown myself. I was like, okay, is it just walking on the surface and it's just going down? So it's not floating. That's what I meant. The
You
character
can
is
build in floating mechanics. There are tutorials for creating boats that float on water and stuff, so you could apply that. You know, a boat's just going to be an actor on there, so you could do the same thing to this actor, allow it to float.
Look at the reflections on the feet. I mean, that stuff is crazy.
So by the next time we ask you, Mark, you're gonna have recreated the infamous Half-Life 2 barrels ramp puzzle thing with the no. Okay.
No, I'm not.
Well,
you never know.
well, I mean, we had to ask.
Yeah.
But so to come back to what Sebastiano said at the beginning, where is the ray tracing?
Well, that's more like that's going to be disabled in the preview mode. So, you know,
especially if you're mining bitcoins like during the live stream and your MacBook is choking.
I also don't think that MacBooks have hardware to accelerate ray tracing, so there's also that problem.
I mean, my old MacBook had a GeForce, so I don't know what.
Yeah,
they
but
are
not an
nowadays.
RTX.
No, because it was like 10 years ago. But I don't know what they're running right nowadays. Is it like one blob of hardware by Apple or the? Okay.
Yeah, it's an ARM-based GPU. Well, what I mean by that is that it's running a GPU in the M1 Ultra. That
also does the
possibly based on the ARM Mali design, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is a pretty pokey machine, so
yeah, it's chunky, but it doesn't have the hardware for ray tracing. You just need to think how much power ray tracing capable GPU uses, and just put it that next to everything else in the same chip.
Yeah.
Do you like bonfires? Because that's how you get a bonfire.
Well, I mean, I was shocked when I bought this Windows machine about how large it was like a 2060 something the video card was, and then I saw the next one, the one that you have, and the 4090 that came out. There's like fucking shoebox.
The 3080 Ti I have in the Windows machine is like as long as like 30-ish, 28. I have a giant ass case for the computer, and it barely fits.
I was like, I'm not gonna pick this one. It's large enough.
Exactly. That was the thinking, and then I put it in, and it was like, oh shit, I have like 1 centimeter left. Fuck.
Yeah, but this is great. So, Mark, where are you going from here? Are you still playing with this thing, or it was like a?
Does this come out on Steam Greenlight or something?
No, I mean, can I play it on the Steam Deck? No, but it's for Switch. Can you port it to Switch?
Only with the ray tracing.
I'm curious. Yeah, sure. I'm curious. Is it something that eventually? Did you find it interesting to a point where, okay, I want to try to build something with this? It's more like a personal question.
Are you asking, are you monetizing your free time?
No. I'm serious, because I mean, Mark has been doing Android for like forever, right? And this is completely new for him. And I'm curious from a personal point of view, if it was interesting enough to say, I want to give it a shot, whatever, right?
It was certainly an interesting experience. It was a surprising experience. I feel completely wrong in a lot of my preconceptions about what I was going to have to do to get something basic working. And I got something basic working much faster than I anticipated I might. So that was the big takeaway from me, is don't allow your preconceptions to be a barrier for trying this stuff. That is kind of my big takeaway. Preconceptions can just stop you from even trying something. So, never make assumptions. Really, try it before you make your assumptions. I can't see I would be doing game development because it could. I can already tell that it could turn into a massive time sink.
Oh yeah, I see.
Each little thing you wanted to add, you're maybe going to have to go off and research. And this thing is vast. There's an awful lot to do here, and. Hi, Madison.
Ciao, Madison.
So yeah, it's. I don't think I'm no youngster these days, so I haven't got weekends to spare. Just tinkering with this. I quite enjoy it.
But I like the fact the fact that you found it changing, changed your mind about this stuff in a very quick way, right? Okay, this is doable, right? It's not that you are missing, like, there is a lot of stuff to do because it's a complete different domain from what we do, but it's not unreachable, right? I mean, this, especially the thing that you showed us today, I mean, there is a lot of stuff in those vectors and RGB, whatever, mask, whatever, something, but there is also a lot of stuff that you can learn from, right? I mean, nowadays you just hit YouTube and you find, how do I do the Zelda effect, and something is gonna pop up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely what I found. I kind of thought, that was one of the things I thought was, how can you get, when I first fired this up, the grass wasn't moving with the wind, and I had to kind of work out how to do that and search for that, and found there's just one switch and you can get it to happen. So, if I go back to this foliage material, and no, it wasn't that actually. It's the wheatgrass, and I just turn off the grass wind and save it, and we go back. We should see that the grass just stops moving.
Yeah.
There we go.
Pretty still.
So that's how it was when I started. And yeah, it looks pretty, but it's not very natural looking. I don't think the wind effect is completely natural looking. It kind of looks slightly old fashioned, but I wonder if, it may well be that there are tweaks you can make to that, and you could maybe refine the scripts, because it's all editable. None of this is hard coded. If I go back here, you can see we go to the wind section, and we could see the simple grass wind, and we can go in and we can try and tweak this behavior, and firstly try and understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, well, that's for sure.
That sounds like step one is difficult enough.
Step one, and understand,
draw the circle.
Yeah. Step one is okay. So this is a square and this is a rectangular. Okay, that's settled. And then you start. Okay, that's an arrow, and there's a lot of numbers. But I get the point, right? I mean, especially what Sebastiano said, it's more like a mindset that we don't have. It's even before we don't have the knowledge for this, it's that we don't have the mindset. So you need to give yourself time. I'm pretty sure that with the necessary time that Max and me and Sebastiano don't have.
What is time?
Oh fuck me! And you can do things. You can do things. I'm looking at you, Aurelio. I'm looking at drop compose. Go back to this stuff, Aurelio.
Really, if you tell Ivan to fuck himself, you have my +1.
Yeah. So
You have my sword.
no, but jokes aside, this is cool. This is cool, and it's yeah, but it's a whole different world. But I like the fact that we had a sneak peek, so I love it.
I think it's time to wrap up. Because
Yes.
we're over time.
So I'm gonna do the giveaway just for the sake of playing with the software that I
This is a drum
built.
roll. It doesn't look like it, but it's a drum roll.
This is the build.
Wow, we won.
Okay. So, well,
Where do
let
I
me
find
try again.
bugs?
Let me try again. No, let me try again. Let me try
Yay! Congrats, Carmen.
I didn't filter us out, even though the checkbox was unchecked. So that's something that I need to note down.
It's like even scribbling down fuck.
No. I have a notepad here with all the stuff when we use the software. So congratulations, Carmen. I'm gonna send you stickers, and woohoo! Thank you everybody for
Stickers.
the support. Thank you everybody for the support. If you have an Amazon Prime subscription, please connect it to your Twitch account and subscribe to the channel so we have spare change to send Carmen stickers.
More stickers.
More stickers for Carmen. And yeah, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark, for sharing this with us today. It was very cool.
I think
I'm sorry if my amateur fumblings were a bit random at times, but it's kind of such a huge topic. There's no way you could cover much in an hour and a half.
it's still cool to see like the basics. Just that it exists. Like, cause I bet a lot of people have never even installed a game engine, so they have no idea how it looks. So that's still very cool. And I guess we also kind of answered the question that we had at the beginning. Are we gonna do C++?
Not a chance.
Not today.
Not today. What do we do?
What do we say to C++? Not today.
Not today. Not today, my friend. But I wonder if you can use Rust for this stuff.
Someone was asking about it earlier. I forgot who, obviously, because I have a terrible memory. But I don't know.
It was Aurel.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a good question to which we have no answer.
No. Fair enough. 999, yeah.
I mean, there is C++ 99, which is 99.
Oh, come on.
It's a thing. Look it up.
Yeah, for sure. I bet. Anyway, beautiful people. This was good. So do we stream next week, Sebastian?
Yes, we do. I was just about to say, next week we have a new friend from the Firebase team, because Ivan has been waiting for someone to talk about Firebase for like almost 2 years at this point. So
Yes.
It felt like I had to find someone to come talk about Firebase. So we're going to be covering stuff like remote config, I think. How to do A/B testing, maybe something I forgot, stuff like that. Cool Firebase stuff. Oh no, Mike, not be kind.
We don't stress the guests.
Yeah, no, we don't. Only if it's Mark, because Mark stresses out all the time. So it's only fair.
Your chief troll deserves to be trolled occasionally. Although
Yeah.
I think the chat's been pretty lenient on me, despite me causing the delayed start of the stream. I think I got off light.
Everyone, I'll see you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.